Welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. If you're self-employed or thinking about it, this episode is just for you.
Absolutely, Emily. Retirement planning can feel a bit daunting, especially for those who run their own businesses.
Right? You know, it's so different when you're not working for a company that offers a 401k or pensions, huh?
Exactly. We're going to dive into some really important strategies for self-employed individuals today.
Like how to set up your own retirement accounts, right?
Yes, and we'll also cover tax advantages, which are super important, and how to make sure you're saving enough for the future.
Plus, some tips on balancing immediate business needs with long-term savings. It's all about finding that sweet spot, isn't it?
For sure, and we'll also discuss the importance of having a solid financial plan as a self-employed person. It's crucial for peace of mind.
Definitely. So whether you're just starting out or you've been self-employed for years, there's something here for everyone.
Let's get into it, shall we?
Yes, let's jump right in. So David, what's the first step someone should take when planning for retirement as a self-employed individual?
You know, Emily, when we think about retirement planning for self-employed individuals, it's really crucial to grasp why it matters right now. I mean, we're in a period of significant economic change, and it's impacting timelines.
Absolutely, David. I think a lot of folks are feeling that pressure, right? With inflation being what it is, it can be daunting to think about how far their money will actually stretch in retirement.
Exactly. I had a client, let's call her Sarah, who ran a small graphic design business. She was planning to retire in about 5 years, but with the rising costs of everyday living, she's now reconsidering that timeline.
That's a tough spot to be in. So, did she have to adjust her savings plan?
Yeah, she did. We had to sit down and really look at her cash flow, expenses, and savings. Inflation, especially in healthcare costs, is a big concern for many self-employed individuals. It's not just about saving enough. It's also about making sure that savings maintain their value over time.
And speaking of healthcare, that can be especially tricky for the self-employed because they don't have employer-sponsored health insurance, right?
Right, and healthcare costs are expected to keep rising. So having a solid plan to cover those potential expenses is key. I always encourage clients to factor in rising premiums and out-of-pocket costs when they're estimating their retirement budget.
I can see how that could really catch someone off guard. It's not just the day-to-day expenses, but those unexpected medical costs can really add up.
Exactly. And then there's the market volatility we've been seeing lately. It's so important for self-employed individuals to be aware of how it can affect their retirement accounts.
I mean, you've got a lot of entrepreneurs who might have their retirement funds tied up in their businesses or in volatile investments, right?
Yes, and that's a risky move. I remember working with a couple, let's call them Tom and Lisa. They had invested heavily in their startup, and when the market took a downturn, it really impacted their retirement savings. They had to rethink their investment strategy to ensure they weren't too exposed to that risk.
So, what did they end up doing?
We reallocated some of their funds into more stable investments and also set up a separate retirement account that was less tied to the fluctuations of their business. It's about creating a balance. You want growth potential, but you also need some stability.
That makes sense. And, with all these changes in the economy, I think a lot of people are also worried about tax efficiency in their retirement plans.
Absolutely. The tax landscape is continually shifting, and self-employed individuals often have different tax considerations than traditional employees. I've seen clients miss out on potential deductions or benefits simply because they weren't aware of them.
Right, and with tax laws changing, it can feel like a moving target.
Exactly. Like there's been ongoing talk about changes to Social Security, too. Self-employed individuals need to understand how their contributions impact their benefits down the line.
That's crucial. Many people assume it'll just be there for them, but it's important to really know what to expect and how to maximize those benefits.
Yes, and don't forget about legacy planning. A lot of self-employed individuals overlook this. They're so focused on running their businesses and living for today that they forget to plan for what they want to leave behind.
That's a great point. I think many people in that position might feel like they have time, but the earlier you start thinking about it, the better, right?
Absolutely. It's about building a strong foundation for not just yourself, but for your loved ones too. I had a client named Mark who, after his wife passed away, realized he hadn't put any plans in place. It was a tough time for him, and we had to pivot quickly to make sure his kids were taken care of.
That's such a sad situation, but it highlights how important it is to be proactive.
Yes, and it's also about emotional security, the peace of mind knowing that you've taken care of your financial future. I think that's often overlooked when we talk about numbers and investments.
For sure. It's more than just the money. It's about feeling secure in your choices and knowing you're prepared for whatever comes next.
Right, and with all the uncertainty in the economy, having that financial security can alleviate a lot of stress.
So what do you think are the most effective strategies for self-employed individuals to navigate all of this?
Well, we can dive into that next, but I believe it starts with a clear understanding of your financial situation, regular reviews, and being adaptable to change. Let's explore some solid strategies to help them build that secure retirement. So Emily, when we talk about retirement planning for self-employed individuals, one of the first things I think about is making sure they have a solid understanding of tax-advantaged accounts, right?
Absolutely, David. Those accounts can really make a difference in how much you save for retirement. I mean, you've got your traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, and then for self-employed folks, there are options like Solo 401ks.
Exactly. A solo 401k is fantastic because you can contribute both as an employee and as the employer. So for 2023, you could put in up to $22, $500 as an employee, and if you're over 50, there's that catch-up contribution of another $7, $500.
Right, so that's a total of $30,000 if you're over 50, which is a pretty hefty amount to save in a tax-advantaged manner. And then, as the employer, you can also contribute up to 25% of your net earnings, which can really boost your retirement savings.
Yes, and that's where a lot of people miss out. They think just because they're self-employed, they can't take advantage of these plans, but they can. And it's important to max out those contributions if they can.
And what about IRAs, traditional versus Roth? What's your take on that?
Well, it really depends on your tax situation. With a traditional IRA, you get the tax deduction up front, which can be a big help if you're in a higher tax bracket now. But with a Roth IRA, you pay taxes now, and then your withdrawals in retirement are tax-free.
Yeah, I've heard that the Roth is especially beneficial if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket later on.
Exactly. And keep in mind, there are income limits for Roth contributions, so it's worth checking those limits based on your earnings.
Right, and for self-employed individuals, income can fluctuate a lot, so it's good to revisit these strategies each year.
Yes, and let's not forget about the Health Savings Account, HSA. If you have a high-deductible health plan, that's another tax-advantaged vehicle that can be super helpful. You can contribute pre-tax, and if you use it for qualifying medical expenses, it's tax-free when you withdraw.
Oh, that's a great point. And it can also serve as a sort of supplemental retirement account, since you can use it for medical expenses in retirement, which can be significant.
Right. Now, switching gears a bit, let's talk about asset allocation. For many self-employed folks, it's crucial to have a diversified portfolio. I often recommend a balanced approach, something like a 70-30 portfolio, 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds.
That sounds reasonable. But I assume that varies depending on their risk tolerance, right?
Absolutely. If someone is more risk-averse, they might lean towards a 60-40 split, or even more conservative. It's all about finding that balance that aligns with their comfort level and retirement timeline.
And I think it's important to revisit that allocation regularly, especially as you get closer to retirement.
Definitely. You don't want to be too aggressive as you approach retirement age. That's where strategies like the bucket strategy come into play, having different buckets for short-term, medium-term, and long-term needs.
Can you break that down a little? I think that's such a smart approach.
Sure. So you might have a bucket for immediate needs, say the first 5 years of retirement, invested in cash or short-term bonds. Then you might have a second bucket for the next 5 to 10 years, which could be a bit more aggressive, maybe a mix of stocks and bonds. Finally, you'd have a long-term bucket, invested in more growth-oriented assets, like equities, for use in the later years.
That makes a lot of sense. It helps mitigate risk while ensuring you have access to funds when you need them.
Exactly. And then we can't overlook the importance of Social Security optimization. Many self-employed individuals might not fully understand how their benefits could work for them.
Right, and there's a lot of strategy involved in deciding when to take those benefits. Delaying can really increase your monthly payout, can it?
Yes, it can. If you delay past your full retirement age, your benefits increase by about 8% each year until you hit 70. So for someone who's in good health and has other sources of income, waiting can be a smart move.
That's a great strategy. And for self-employed individuals who may not have a pension, leveraging Social Security effectively can really bolster their retirement income.
Absolutely. And speaking of income, let's touch on withdrawal strategies. A common rule of thumb is the 4% rule, where you withdraw 4% of your retirement savings each year.
Yeah, but I've heard that it might not be as straightforward as it sounds, especially with market fluctuations.
That's true. The 4% rule is based on historical returns, but with today's market conditions, some experts suggest being more conservative, maybe starting with 3.5% or even less.
Makes sense. It's all about ensuring that your money lasts throughout your retirement, right?
Exactly. And that's where diversification comes in. Having different asset classes can help mitigate risk, making sure you're not overly exposed to one market downturn.
And let's not forget about tax implications when withdrawing funds. For example, if you withdraw from a traditional IRA, that's taxable income, while Roth withdrawals are tax-free.
Yes, planning those withdrawals strategically can save a lot in taxes over time. And it's also worth considering the timing, like if you can defer withdrawals until a year when you're in a lower tax bracket.
That's a smart tip, David. It really highlights the importance of having a well-thought-out plan.
Absolutely. Now, as we wrap this up, it's essential to pivot a bit and talk about common pitfalls. Many self-employed individuals overlook these strategies entirely because they're focused on running their business.
Right, and they often think they'll just figure it out later, but that can lead to missed opportunities.
Yes, and that's why it's so crucial to start planning early and revisit those plans regularly. You know, Emily, one of the biggest pitfalls I see with self-employed individuals is the sequence of returns risk.
Oh, really? What does that mean exactly?
Well, it's all about the timing of your investment returns, especially as you're starting to withdraw from your retirement accounts. For instance, if you hit a market downturn right when you start withdrawing, that can really impact the longevity of your portfolio.
That makes sense. So if someone retires and the market takes a nosedive right after, they could be in big trouble?
Exactly. I had a client. Let's call him Jim. He was so excited to retire and started withdrawing right before the 2008 financial crisis. His portfolio took a massive hit, and it forced him to adjust his lifestyle drastically in retirement.
Ouch, that must have been tough for him.
Yeah, it really was. He didn't account for those early withdrawals needing to be sustainable over a long period, so he ended up having to go back to work part-time to make ends meet.
That's a reality check for sure. What can someone do to avoid that risk if they're self-employed?
Well, one strategy is to have a diversified investment approach. You want to have a mix of assets that can provide growth but also some stability. Also, creating a cash reserve for the first few years of retirement can help weather those downturns.
So having that cash cushion gives you time to ride out the storms?
Right. And then there's the issue of taxes. Many people overlook how taxes will impact their withdrawals.
Oh, I bet that can sneak up on you.
Absolutely. I know someone, let's call her Sarah, who retired and started taking distributions from her 401k. She didn't realize those withdrawals would push her into a higher tax bracket.
Wow! So she ended up paying a lot more than she planned?
Exactly. She was shocked when tax season rolled around. It's important to plan those withdrawals strategically, considering both the federal and state tax implications.
That sounds like something a financial advisor could really help with.
Definitely. And then there's healthcare and longevity. People often underestimate how much healthcare will cost in retirement.
I can see how that would be a shocker, too.
For sure. I had a couple, let's call them Tom and Lisa. They thought they'd be fine with their Medicare coverage and didn't budget for out-of-pocket expenses. They ended up spending way more than they anticipated on healthcare.
It's easy to see how that could happen when you're not fully aware of what Medicare covers.
Right. And the truth is, with people living longer, you need to plan for potentially 20 or 30 years in retirement. That can make healthcare costs skyrocket.
So how can someone better prepare for that?
Building a healthcare savings account or even looking into long-term care insurance can be a good move. Also, just being realistic about how long you might need those funds.
Yeah, long-term planning is key.
And then we have asset allocation. Many self-employed individuals tend to be overly aggressive with their investments, thinking they can just ride the market waves.
That's a risky game, isn't it?
It really is. I had a client, let's call him Mike, who is heavily invested in tech stocks. When the tech bubble burst, his portfolio took a massive hit. He hadn't balanced it out with more stable investments.
That sounds like a tough lesson to learn.
It was. Diversification isn't just a buzzword. It's essential. You want to spread your investments across different sectors and asset classes to mitigate risk.
So, would you recommend a mix of stocks, bonds, and maybe even some real estate?
Exactly. A well-rounded portfolio is crucial. And then there's the Social Security dilemma. Claiming too early can be a costly mistake.
Oh, I've heard about that. Many people don't realize how it impacts their long-term benefits.
Right. I had a client, let's say her name is Linda, who claimed her benefits at 62 because she was eager to retire. But she didn't realize that her monthly benefits were reduced significantly.
That's a bummer.
It really is. If you can hold off on claiming, even a few years, it can lead to a much larger monthly benefit down the line.
So what's the sweet spot for claiming?
Ideally, if you can wait until your full retirement age, or even until 70, you maximize your benefits. But it's all about your personal situation and health as well.
Good point. What other red flags should people be on the lookout for?
A big one is not having a clear retirement income strategy. If someone's just winging it without a plan, that's definitely a red flag.
Like, not knowing how much they'll need to live on each month?
Exactly. It's important to have a budget that accounts for all expenses, including those unexpected ones.
So what can someone do if they find themselves in one of these situations?
Well, first, don't panic. It's never too late to adjust your plan. Consulting with a financial advisor can provide clarity and help you get back on track.
That's great advice.
And being proactive is essential. Regularly reviewing your retirement strategy, adjusting your asset allocation, and reevaluating your withdrawal strategy can help you avoid these common pitfalls.
Sounds like a solid plan.
It really is. Awareness and preparation can make all the difference in enjoying a smooth and fulfilling retirement.
Absolutely, David. Let's transition to what the next steps could look like for our listeners.
So now that we've talked about the importance of planning for retirement as a self-employed individual, let's dive into some immediate steps that can really help you move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the best places to start is by reviewing your current financial situation. Figuring out where you stand is crucial.
Right, and there are some excellent online tools that can help with that. Websites like Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all offer retirement calculators. You can input your current savings, expected expenses, and see how long your money might last.
Those calculators are so user-friendly too. I remember using one and it really opened my eyes to what I needed to save each month.
Exactly. And it's a good idea to revisit those calculators regularly, maybe quarterly. That way you can adjust your projections based on any changes in income or expenses.
That's a smart habit to develop. And speaking of habits, what about running retirement projections?
Yes. Setting aside some time every few months to run a projection can help keep your goals in focus. You can see how your investments are performing and if they align with your retirement timeline.
And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by taxes, there are also software options out there that can simplify that process. TurboTax and H&R Block are popular choices.
Definitely. And don't forget about the IRS website, ssa.gov. It has a wealth of resources, especially for understanding your Social Security benefits, which can be a big part of your retirement income.
That's a great point. And for anyone who might be managing their own investments, using financial planning apps can be a game changer. I mean, apps like Mint or Personal Capital can help track your progress in real time.
For sure. And it's never too late to improve your plan, right? So even if you're a few years away from retirement, those tools can definitely help you get on the right path.
Exactly. And if you're looking for some good reading material, there are a few books I'd recommend. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins is a favorite for many.
That's a great one. And Retire Inspired by Chris Hogan offers some solid advice for anyone looking to really dig into their retirement planning.
Oh, and let's not forget podcasts. I mean, aside from this one, there are plenty of other finance-focused podcasts out there. like Choose FI or the Stacking Benjamins show. They break down complex topics in a really engaging way.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what resonates with you and helps you stay motivated.
And speaking of motivation, establishing a routine for your financial check-ins can really make a difference. Maybe set a specific day each month to review your portfolio?
That's a perfect idea. Just a simple habit like that can keep you on track and help you make informed decisions. It's like a financial wellness checkup.
Right? And if you notice something isn't working, you can pivot sooner rather than later.
Yes, the earlier you can make adjustments, the better off you'll be in the long run.
So true. And for anyone who might feel like they're starting late, remember, it's never too late to make improvements.
Exactly. Every small step counts. Even if you can only increase your contributions a little bit, it adds up over time.
That compounding interest is a powerful thing.
It really is. And if you need more personalized advice, seeking out a financial advisor can be a wise step. They can really help tailor a plan that fits your unique situation.
Great point, David. It's all about creating a strategy that works for you.
So those are some practical first steps. Now let's bring this all together. Wow, Emily, what a journey we've had today, discussing retirement planning for self-employed individuals.
Absolutely, David. I think a few key takeaways really stand out, like the importance of setting up those retirement accounts early, right?
Right, and especially considering options like a SEP IRA or solo 401k. They can really help maximize contributions and tax benefits.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the need for a solid financial plan to keep everything organized and ensure you're on track.
Definitely. And establishing an emergency fund, too, is crucial. Life can be unpredictable, and having that cushion can really provide peace of mind.
Exactly. And lastly, I think we highlighted the importance of consulting with a financial advisor to navigate all those unique challenges that come with being self-employed.
That's so true. Remember, building and protecting your retirement wealth is a journey, not a sprint. It takes time, patience, and a bit of strategy.
For sure. And it's never too late to start. Every step you take today lays the groundwork for a more secure tomorrow.
So, if you found today's discussion helpful, we'd love for you to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment about your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have.
And if you know someone who's planning for retirement or is already in it, share this with them. The more we can help each other, the better off we all are.
Absolutely. And next time, we'll dive into a really exciting topic, how to create lifetime income streams.
That's going to be so valuable. We can't wait to share those insights with you.
Until then, take care of yourselves and keep planning for that bright future ahead.
Bye for now, everyone.